Hello, hello, hello. Moving on, we're going to cover the next two sections of chapter 1. There'll be two clips following this one, so 3 more clips. And the next 2 clips this one and the following clip, will cover the basic forms of business organization that we have in the United States. Okay, so this is something that all of you need to familiarize yourself with, regardless of what you're going to be doing in your career. You need to understand how business is organized legally in the United States. There are implications regarding taxation, implications regarding ownership, control of ownership, making management decisions, and control of the income and control of the assets, the wealth owned by these different business organizations. So you need to be familiar with it, and you need to work with an attorney, and you need to work with an accountant when you're considering either joining an existing business or becoming an owner, either starting a new business or maybe becoming an owner of an existing business. I just had a conversation with my nephew. He has been offered ownership, partial ownership, 30% ownership in a restaurant in which he has worked for 4 years. He started working at this restaurant when he was an undergraduate student in college. He worked there for a couple of years as an undergraduate student, then for a couple of years as a graduate student, and rose up the ranks to become a manager, and then the owner of the business offered him 30% of the business. And so he called me to ask me, get some advice from me on how to assess and analyze his situation. There are lots of things that you have to consider. For example, what if that business has a lot of debt and the current owner is trying to shift a portion of that debt to a new shareholder who is unaware of that debt? So there are lots of pitfalls and traps that you have to look out for. Let me check this video just to make sure that everything is running properly here. So you're going to get a close-up of me. Isn't that a thing of beauty? A close-up of Dr. E. All right. I've got my Earl Grey tea here and to coat my throat. All right, moving on. So 3 major forms of business organization in the United States. Let me see if I can get situated in this chair. Oh man, I'm getting old. Oh, it creaks, snap, crackle. All right. So the first major form of business organization is the sole proprietorship. The old corner bakery here, small business. They say it's the backbone of the U.S. economy, and in fact it is. Most new jobs are created by smaller businesses, not by larger businesses. And so that's why they say that small business is the backbone of the American economy. All right, then we have the partnership. And you have 2 folks there, and they're both adding resources to a business to help a business grow and expand. There are a couple of different kinds of partnerships, general partnerships and limited partnerships. We'll go over each of these business forms in more detail, and then there's the corporate form of business organizations. And there's the big business building with all the people in it that you think about when you think about corporations. But not all corporations are large. You can have smaller corporations. An S corporation has fewer than 100 shareholders. It's a smaller company in terms of the number of owners. The limited liability company, or LLC, that's a new type of business organization, newer. And then there's the C corporation, and all companies that trade on exchanges are a C corporation. So all companies that have publicly traded stock are C corporations. All right, so let's dig in to more, drill down deeper into each of these areas. So let's look at sole proprietorship first. So the advantages of a sole proprietorship is it's very easy to start, very few forms to fill out. Still recommend you talk to an accountant, talk to an attorney who is experienced in starting businesses. They will ask. You know, doing these videos is not as easy as it seems. I have a better appreciation of what those guys in Hollywood go through. I just went through an 18-minute sequence and went and checked the phone and found that the video cut off at 5 minutes. So I guess I'm gonna have to check my video every 4 or 5 minutes. I think my memory was full. I deleted a couple of earlier videos, so hopefully we won't have any problems with this. So let's go over sole proprietorship and partnership in this clip. All right, so the advantages of a sole proprietorship. And the sole proprietorship is that single business owner who starts a small business. And again, as I mentioned earlier, most new jobs in the United States are created by smaller businesses, not by larger businesses, and that's why they say that small business is the backbone of the American economy. So, with a sole proprietorship, very little paperwork involved, particularly with the IRS and with the state taxing authorities. You go down to City Hall and you get a business license, and you're good to go with a sole proprietorship. So not a whole lot of paperwork. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you do want to consult with an accountant and with an attorney to determine the best form of organization for you and your business, and that's based on the circumstances surrounding your business. All right, so again, it's the least regulated by the IRS and the state taxing authority. In terms of the regulation of the business itself, that depends on what kind of business you might be involved with. You know, if you're involved, a lot of businesses require certain licenses. If you get into the financial services business, you'll need certain licenses. If you're in, let's say you decide to become a beautician, you'll need certain licenses for that. You own a dry cleaners, certain licenses for that, and the government's going to step in and make sure that you're disposing of any chemicals you use properly. So when I say least regulated, I'm really talking about from the IRS and from the state taxing authorities. All right, so you have one owner with a sole proprietorship, and that single owner keeps all the profits. Okay, that doesn't mean you don't have employees. Of course, you can have employees, and you pay the employees, and you can cut your employees in on the profits, but you decide. You have complete control over that business, over the assets that the business has, over the debt that the business has, and over the flow stream of income that the business has. You have control. You make those decisions. Be careful to separate your business and your personal records. A lot of people will pay personal expenses through their business. You must consult with your CPA. It's okay to do that under certain circumstances, but you want to make sure that you don't cross the line, that you don't violate any laws or regulations. You don't want to get audited and get in trouble for paying personal expenses through your business. So talk to your CPA about setting up a system to separate your business expenses and records and your personal expenses and records. Income is taxed once at personal income tax rates. So there are tax rates, tax tables, if you will, for every different type of business and business organization. Okay, whether you're a sole proprietor or partnership, or an S corporation, those are called pass-throughs. That means that the income from the business passes from the business and is put directly on your individual tax form. That's different from a C corporation, which is a separate entity and has a completely different tax table, different tax rates, different tax rules. Okay, so you have to talk to your accountant to determine whether you set yourself up as a sole proprietorship, as a partnership, as a S corporation, as a limited liability corporation, or as a C corporation. All right, disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. Capital is limited. The amount of capital that you have access to as a business owner is limited to the owner's personal wealth and to the owner's ability to borrow. And remember that you start a business with an idea, and then you grow your business with capital. You need money, long-term financing, to invest in people, and to invest in assets, and to cover operating expenses until the business starts cash flowing itself. All right, let me check the phone here, make sure that the video is still going all right. Let's see. Yes, we're still going okay. All right, so all sole proprietorships have unlimited liability. And what that means is if you're an owner of a sole proprietorship and an employee is hurt or a customer is hurt, either physically or from a product defect, whatever, if there are damages, if there's a legal case against you as a sole proprietor, you have to bear the burden of all of the damage award that might be given by a judge or a jury. So unlimited liability can be a very scary prospect here. All right, and then succession. What is succession? Succession is what do you do when you're ready to get out of the business? And that might mean you're ready to get out because of your health. You might be ready to get out because of your age. You might be ready to get out because you need to take care of other people. Whatever your circumstances, when you're ready to get out of the business, what are you going to do? And you really have two choices. You can sell it or you can shut it down. And you can sell it to someone outside of your family or to someone inside of your family, or you can shut it down. Shutting it down is your least attractive option. You've got assets, you've got inventory maybe, and you've got property, plant, and equipment. You might have relationships. You might have recipes. You might have a formula for a soda or for a drug, or you might have code for software. These are things of value. If you shut a business down, you're not going to get good value for the assets you're trying to sell. What you really want to do, if you can, is try to sell the entire business intact. That is how you get the best value for the work that you've done. All right, moving on to partnership. So there are two types of partnerships in the United States: the general partnership and the limited partnership. So let's drill down into